that most parents do the best with what they have. I was a family court judge who saw the worst child abuse you can imagine. And
Yes.
I'm still telling you that most parents, except for a tiny, tiny fraction who really are evil, the vast majority of parents learned how to be parents from how they were parented.
Yes.
And I found it very easy to forgive. My father was the director of the Jewish Community Center. So he was like the mayor of the Jewish community in Hamilton. And my mother had an extremely successful ladies' wear store. So my parents had a high profile in Hamilton. And when I told them I was gay, they were mortified, mostly my mom. My dad was a social worker. So I don't think I would ever have had the problems I had if it had just been him. It wasn't him that motivated the rejection. It was my mom. And where did it come from? Shame. They were terribly, terribly ashamed that their son was a Faigela. Their son turned out to be a faggot. And this was so embarrassing. I like to say that when I came out of the closet, they went in.
Yes.
They were just so terribly embarrassed. But how did I find forgiveness? Well, number one, I was determined to channel all of that anger that I had into success. I was going to do whatever it took to make them proud of me. I was going to be somebody. I was going to be a success. What I really wanted in my life was to be a talk show host. I used to watch those talk shows, Merv Griffin and Mike Douglas and Johnny Carson and all of them. And I felt I was better.
Yes.
I knew I was better. I knew I asked better questions. But I knew that if I went into show business, there was no chance of success. And I needed to be a success because I needed my parents to love me and be proud of me. So I gave all of that up. I went to law school because if you're Jewish, that's what you do if you don't want to be a doctor. And I knew that if I was going to get straight A's because of that scholarship, I was going to be able to make it as a lawyer and be a success. And then when I became a lawyer, and I didn't think that was good enough to get their respect, then I needed to become a judge. So at 38 years old, I got myself appointed the youngest judge in the country and the first gay one, openly gay one. But the forgiveness that you're mentioning, Avrum, comes from, number one, knowing that they did the best they could with what they had, with the knowledge they had, with the skills they had, that they loved you and want you to succeed, but they want you to be their vision of what they want you to be, not your vision of what you want to be. But I found it easy to forgive because I did eventually earn their respect. Once I became a judge, my mother was over the moon. She used to say, well, anybody can have grandchildren and not everybody can say their son is a judge.
That's true.
And so I finally
That is true. Yeah.
I used to say my mother was so proud she had her own website, mysonIsAjudge.com.